When I first heard my wife, Emily, say those words, it wasn't even directed at me. I was standing in the hallway, just outside the living room, the grocery bags still in my hands. Her voice carried clearly from where she stood with her mother on the phone. "I'm divorcing him, Mom. I can't live on his pathetic salary anymore." Her tone wasn't angry, it was cold, detached, as if she was discussing a failed appliance rather than a man she once promised to love. My chest tightened, and the world around me seemed to pause. I'd suspected for months that something was wrong. The way she avoided my eyes at dinner, the way her laughter with others was effortless while her words to me were sharp and short. But hearing it confirmed that she saw me not as her husband, but as a paycheck that fell short, cut deeper than I expected. I quietly placed the groceries on the counter, took a deep breath, and walked out before she could see me. That night, I slept in my car, staring up at the dim glow of the streetlight, wondering how love could turn into humiliation so quickly. The next morning, Emily acted as if nothing had happened. She smiled, asked if I wanted coffee, and talked about redecorating the living room. I just nodded, watching her, memorizing every detail, because I knew something had changed inside me forever. That evening, I sat her down at the kitchen table. "Emily," I began calmly, "I heard what you said to your mother yesterday." She froze, her hand tightening around her mug. "What are you talking about?" she asked weakly. "You said you're divorcing me because you can't live on my salary," I continued. "And you know what? I agree." Her face paled. "Wait, what? You agree?" "Yes," I said softly. "You deserve the life you want, and I deserve someone who values me beyond numbers on a paycheck." She tried to recover her composure. "Daniel, don't be dramatic. I was just venting. You know how my mom gets, she pushes me." I shook my head. "You weren't venting, Emily. You meant it. And that's okay. But now, I'm done pretending we're fine." Over the next week, I quietly began preparing. I closed our joint accounts, separated the bills, and arranged to move out. When I told her I'd be leaving, she didn't believe me at first. But when I handed her the signed divorce papers, her expression shifted from disbelief to anger. "So that's it? You're just walking away?" she snapped. "No," I replied evenly. "I'm walking toward peace." I moved into a small one-bedroom apartment near my office. It wasn't much, but it was mine. For the first time in years, I cooked my own meals, spent evenings reading, and stopped waiting for someone else's approval to feel content. I even started working overtime, not out of desperation, but determination. My manager noticed and, after a few months, offered me a promotion. The raise wasn't huge, but it was enough to make me smile, not because of the money, but because I'd earned it on my terms. Months passed, and I heard little from Emily. Then, one evening, there was a knock at my door. When I opened it, she stood there, wearing a designer coat and an uncertain smile. "Hi, Daniel," she said softly. "Can we talk?" I hesitated but stepped aside. She looked around my modest apartment and gave a faint, nervous laugh. "You've been busy," she said. I just nodded. "What did you want to talk about?" She took a breath. "I made a mistake. I thought I wanted more money, more luxury, but I didn't realize what I was losing in the process. My mom pushed me to find someone better, but no one's treated me the way you did." Her voice cracked a little. "I was cruel, and I know I don't deserve another chance, but I had to tell you I'm sorry." I looked at her, the woman I once loved so deeply, and felt nothing but calm. There was no hate, no bitterness, just understanding. "Emily," I said gently, "I forgive you. But forgiveness doesn't mean going backward. We were different people when we started this. You needed something I couldn't give, and I needed something you stopped offering, respect." She blinked back tears, realizing the finality in my tone. "So, that's it," she whispered. "That's it," I said, walking her to the door. "Take care of yourself." After she left, I sat down on the couch, the silence comforting rather than heavy. That night, I thought about how love can fade quietly, without explosions or dramatic endings, just a gradual unraveling until you finally let go. A year later, I was promoted again, this time to department manager. I'd bought a small house and started mentoring younger employees who struggled like I once did. One of them, a bright and kind woman named Lila, often stayed late working on projects with me. Over time, laughter returned to my evenings, not forced but genuine. Sometimes, when I pass couples arguing over trivial things or chasing a life built on appearances, I remember Emily's words, "I can't live on his pathetic salary." I smile now, because I realize the salary wasn't the problem. The problem was what she valued. What I learned through it all is simple. Respect and loyalty are worth more than any paycheck. You can rebuild wealth, but you can't buy trust once it's gone. So yes, my wife left me over money, but losing her was the best investment I ever made in my own peace.